Welcome back to a new training talk. I've been trying to make this video like 10 different times, so this is going to be my final take no matter what. But I wanted to talk about something that I tried to do in the last one. The video got messed up, so hopefully it doesn't get messed up on this one. But what I think is one of the greatest benefits of the Olympic lifts that is hard to put in literal terms, but if you've done the movements and you've played a sport, you're going to kind of know what I'm talking about, especially if you've done the lifts to a point where you actually have to kind of get hyped up to actually do it. And the same thing kind of apply with just strength movements in general, but I feel like the Olympic lifts are a different animal as far as the factors that get into that. And I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. So if you think about doing a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift or any sort of heavy normal strength lift, you have to really think about what you're doing, get hyped up, kind of freak out a little bit, and then you're exerting yourself really hard. That's going to be good for a mindset to be able to have that for a sport, to be able to get hyped up and to exert yourself maximally, basically in any sport that you're going to want to do well. Maybe there's an exception with like ping pong or something that like maybe you need only finesse and you need no maximal exertion. But like for most sports, it'd be hard to argue that being able to maximally exert yourself is not going to be a good thing. So the thought that maybe you shouldn't do squats and pulls is not going to carry over. Like the mental benefits of it already tell me that it's a good idea to do. But speaking of the Olympic lifts in general, the biggest benefit or the biggest reason I like doing the movements is because it feels athletic and not just like, well, it feels like I'm moving athletic and it feels good. What I mean by that is all the years I've played baseball and basketball and really, any sport that I've tried, the mindset that you have to have when doing a maximal jump in basketball, sprinting, doing a throw in baseball, hitting a baseball, that mindset that you have to have prior to, swinging a bat or throwing a ball or jumping is the same mindset that you get to have on all of these lifts. It's awesome. Like I've spent all these years throwing a baseball, and now I get to do the same mindset with lifting weights. Like I get to get excited and hyped up and then do a lift, whether it's a clean or a snatch or even with squats or whatever. And I get physical benefits, I get stronger and all of that stuff, but I get something that's measurable that I can get better at. And the athletic feeling that I get mirrors what I used to feel in those other sports, and why I think I'm so addicted to doing those movements, because I love playing sports and this gives me the same feeling as when I played those sports. So the mental benefits of doing the Olympic, like that, this tells me that doing the lifts, if I wanted to be athletic in general, are already a good thing because of the mental benefits of trying to move a weight fast, trying to be coordinated, having that confidence to trust what you can do to go under a weight, and then trying to just be powerful in general and just trying to be strong and athletic. Like you get that, I get that same feeling. And I didn't get it right away when I did weightlifting. I didn't do a snatch at 60 kilos and go, wow, this feels as powerful as me when I was trying to throw a baseball as far as I could in long toss, or trying to jump and grab the rim, or whatever, athletic endeavor I was messing around with before. It wasn't until I got to doing, I would say, above a 300-pound clean. That took a while to be able to get to. But as I got to that level, it got to the point where I wasn't able to pull it so high to where I wasn't a little bit scared to go underneath. Once I got above there, that 300, that 315, I had to actually kind of, man up a little bit to get under the weight. And once I did the first clean where it didn't feel like I pulled it as high as, the lighter weights, and I actually had to move fast under there and, really do everything correct to do the lift, that's when I was like, that was the feeling. That is the feeling that I want all the time. That's why it's fun to lift heavy, because you get to develop that mindset. For better or for worse, it's fun to lift heavy in that sense. And if you've played a sport and you've developed a proficiency at Olympic lifts, I think that excitement that you get from moving in a coordinated and fast way, similar to how you would in other sports, trying to move an external load, like baseball, trying to move the external load, the baseball, as fast as I can, and swinging a bat, I'm trying to move the bat as fast as I can. In basketball, I'm trying to move my body as fast as I can to jump up, or, whatever it happens to be as far as, moving around in a sport like that. But nothing else that I've done outside of sports has given me that extreme rush of, wow, I'm moving in a way I'm moving like I did when I played baseball. And not in the sense that I'm as fast or I'm as coordinated or anything like that, but that mindset of like, I have to be focused and hyped up and move powerfully to move correctly and to do it over and over. Like I just enjoy that. And I think that's, to me, it's the best part of weightlifting. And it's something that it's like, unless you've gotten to, I don't want to say an extreme level, but you got to the point where you're a little bit scared to do the weight that you're doing. You don't get that feeling, at least I didn't. And the people that talk negative about, well, Olympic weightlifting is not good for athletes, or there's other things that are better. It's like, I don't know, developing the mindset, because you could talk about the stuff that Will Rattel talks about with all those benefits, and I agree with a lot of those. But to me, like the single best thing that weightlifting can do for athletes is they get to train that athletic mindset that you can't really train in a lot of other athletic movements. And it's such an exciting thing to do that it's hard for me to think about how an athlete couldn't benefit from getting super focused, from trying to exert themselves maximally, but also to do it correctly. Because I could do a rack pull with 800 pounds above my knee and exert the force that I want to lift maximally. I don't know if I've done 800 pounds. Maybe that's a lie. I've done more than 700 from like a really high rack pull as just a bit of a goof. But like, I can exert a really heavy force just pulling it 2 inches off the boxes or whatever. But that's a different level of coordination, knowing not only do I have to pull it fast, I have to go under aggressively, and not only go under aggressively, but I have to immediately develop maximal tension to be able to reverse the direction of the bar in the case of like a clean, like I did today, to be able to get under maximally, catch it correctly, develop the tension, the internal abdominal pressure and all that or whatever, and be able to stand up with the weight. Like, that mindset is how I felt trying to throw a baseball as hard as I could. Not in the same literal sense, but like, if you know, you know. And that's not a good answer, and that's like kind of a subjective thing. But when you've played, and not even elite sports, like I was Division III baseball, like I'm not an elite athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but when you've played a sport and you've gotten to whatever level that you've gotten to, getting good enough at weightlifting movement, you're going to get that same feeling. And to me, that's the best thing. That feels just, it feels like it's the most fun thing you can do when it comes to training. And obviously that's subjective and people can have different preferences with things, but that mindset that I had when I was trying to throw a ball as hard as I can is the same feeling that I get when I'm trying to do a maximal weight. And I like that feeling. It's addicting. And if you haven't had it, I would suggest throwing a baseball or finding something where you can kind of get that feeling, where you have to get that hyper focus to exert yourself maximally, because it's probably one of the greatest feelings that you've experienced as a human being. And it's something that, I do this stuff darn near every day, so I know I'm not just addicted. I like doing it. I like the struggle of it. But that's kind of what I want to talk about, because there's a lot of different routes you can go to talk about that, and a lot of people smarter than me can talk about the strength benefits and the external load, changing direction on external load and all of that sort of stuff. And like I said, I don't disagree with that. I agree with a lot of it. But like, to me, the best thing about it, and the thing that I think would carry over, at least one of the things that carry over, because obviously just getting strong and all that stuff's really good, but like, one of the best benefits and the best carryovers to general athletic things is just like that powerful mindset that you develop with it. And you don't get that learning to do a clean or a snatch for 2 weeks and then saying, this kind of sucks, like it's kind of hard, and why am I even bothering? It takes a little bit of time to get coordinated at it. Maybe, it's not worth it or whatever for people to spend that time doing or whatever, but I would argue that if you're kind of just good at being athletic and learning things, you're going to pick up the movements quickly. And if you have any sort of general athletic or strength base, like, you're just going to add weight to the movements pretty quickly, and probably better than I am at doing them, and get a benefit of them. But it's an exciting thing. And if you kind of want to, and I'll kind of end on this note, if you want to simulate that like excitement feeling of not knowing if you can get under the bar, do a tall snatch. It is a weird movement, but it's one that you can do with an empty barbell, to where you can feel like, I don't know if I can actually get under this. And you have to move fast and coordinated in a way. And if you want to really push yourself, put 5 kilos on each side and try to do the same thing. And you realize how aggressive you have to, move under it. And that's a similar feeling that I got with doing those, the first 315-pound clean or whatever that I did back in the day. And it's a similar idea where it's like, I don't know. And then you kind of figure out like, all right, this is how I go under it. And like that learning and that mental strength that you get from it, I don't know if you can really get that from a lot of different things. I think that's just such a great thing from weightlifting. Obviously, I'm biased because, I like the movements, but, I grew up playing sports and not having any knowledge of weightlifting movements. And I slowly started dabbling in it and became more and more addicted as I did it. And I think that's why. I kept gravitating towards it as I tried it, because it was something that was difficult. And as I got better at it, it became more fun. And it's something that you just can't simulate doing all of, box jumps and sprints and all of these things, at least in my experience. Maybe I'm just an idiot and, don't agree with that too hard. But I would say, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but making heavyweight go burr does feel pretty good. But I'll end this video on that note. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. But I'll talk to you on the next video, and have a great day. Peace.